Last week on Cinematica, we revisited seasons 3 and 4 of the greatest zombie TV show of all time, The Walking Dead. We heard how they upped the action and gore and doubled down on the scariest threat yet for our survivors, other people. But what would it all mean for season 5? Think you know the whole story? Think again. I'm Elissa with Cinematica, and we're here to give you the inside scoop on how the cast and crew went even darker and more intense with The Walking Dead Season 5. From Terminus to Alexandria, our beloved survivors covered a lot of ground this season and paid the price along the way. So get ready, because Cinematica is counting down the 107 facts you should know about The Walking Dead Season 5. Let's get started. Number 1. This season, showrunner Scott Gimple was replaced by... Oh, he wasn't! Well, that's refreshing. As showrunner this season, he abided more than ever by a policy of remixing the source material. That meant staying very close to the comics, hitting many of the major plot points, but often in different ways. Number 2. Special effects makeup designer Greg Nicotero has also brought some changes to this season. Now, a year and a half into the apocalypse, the zombies will be showing more bone and will be a little less attached to all that skin. Number 3. Speaking of decay, have you noticed that the show's logo has been decaying since season 1? This GIF from Skybound Entertainment shows the progression, or unprogression, if you will. Number 4. Season 5 takes place over 36 days, with about half of those occurring off-screen between the two halves. Number 5. The first episode of the season, No Sanctuary, was the highest viewed episode of the series up to that point, with over 17 million viewers. It also made it the highest viewed cable program of all time. Number 6. Prior to being cast as Gareth, actor Andrew J. West made appearances on shows like Castle, CSI, and Bones, and had a larger role on the series Greek. Number 7. Remember Sam, played by Robin Lord Taylor? He hasn't appeared since Indifference in season 4, in which he was presumed dead. Well, he's back now, at the troughs, and now he's dead. Aw. Number 8. When Rick's group goes to war, they go to war. The script describes their escape sequence as storming the beach at Normandy, only with less Normandy and more Norman Reedus. Number 9. None of the actors in the trough scene were shown how the throat slitting was going to be done, so their first time seeing the effect was on camera. Their shock is authentic. Nicotero says that this approach was inspired by the iconic chest-bursting scene in Alien, in which none of the actors knew the xenomorph was going to tear out. Number 10. When Martin threatens to break Judith's neck, the hands around her neck are actually those of the baby's father. Never trust a cannibal to strangle a baby. Number 11. Morgan's post-credit scenes do not take place during the episodes they are attached to. The character's return this episode, his first since Clear, is actually months after the escape scene in the episode itself. Number 12. Creator Robert Kirkman revealed that Gareth would be based on a character from the comics, though didn't specify who. That character is Chris, the leader of the Hunters, which are the inspiration for the Termites. He and Gareth have similar character arcs, dialogue, and wardrobes. Number 13. The Crate from the George Romero Creepshow segment, The Crate, makes a cameo in this episode. Another example of Walking Dead honoring its zombie heritage. Number 14. The near-end scene in which Rick and Judith are reunited was shot in several different improvised ways. The version that stuck had Rick calling over Tyrese and Sasha, who were not originally in that shot. According to Andrew Lincoln, Rick realized that Tyrese had saved her. Number 15. At the end of season 4, Gimple left a secret note to Lincoln in the dirt where Rick buried his guns. However, a different spot was used for the guns in season 5, so the note was never found. Maybe it's still out there right now. Number 16. Watch the watches this season. The time on them matches the production number of the episode. The watch in the premiere episode, for instance, reads 501. Number 17. In the second episode, Strangers, several Bible quotes can be seen in Gabriel's church. Many of those verses refer to the dead coming back to life. Number 18. The zombified water in the basement of the food bank was made possible using finger paint and was then filled with cork to represent various zombie excrements. So, please don't drink that. Number 19. Sonequa Martin Green's liquid zombie kill at the food bank turned out so brutal that the camera operators actually broke their stoic omniscience and reacted to the gore. Number 20. Seth Gilliam was cast as Father Gabriel Stokes. Gilliam had previously appeared in shows like The Wire, Teen Wolf, and Oz, as well as movies like Still Alice and Starship Troopers. Quite the range on that guy. Number 21. Gilliam is actually the third alumnus from The Wire to be cast in the show. The others are Chad Coleman, who played Tyrese, and Lawrence Gilliard Jr., who played Bob. Number 22. Most things taste like chicken, but not Bob. Bob tastes like pig. Wes says that the Bob they ate was made of some type of pork that was tasty enough to make his insane final line accurate. Number 23. Bob's tainted meat line from Four Walls and Roof mirrors a line from the comic series. In the graphic novel, long dead in the show Dale actually suffers the cannibalism realization rather than Bob, though the scene in the show was intentionally shot to allude to that sequence. Number 24. West is the shortest-lived series regular on the show. He only appears in 4 episodes, and only 3 of those feature him in a leading role. It's possible that this was done to deceive the audience of his importance or lack thereof. Number 25. The name of episode 4, Slabtown, comes from an old red light district in Atlanta where many men committed heinous acts before it was overrun by disgusted Atlantans. Grady Hospital is destined to suffer the same fate. Number 26. Eric Jensen, who appears as Dr. Edwards in Slabtown, originally auditioned to play Eugene. He's happy to have lost out on it though, as he doesn't think he could pull off the mullet as well as Josh McDermott. Number 27. The clock in Beth's hospital room reads 5:04. Slabtown is episode 5:04. Get it? About time. Zing. Number 28. Grady Memorial Hospital, where Beth is being kept, can actually be seen in the Atlanta skyline back in the season 2 premiere as Rick talks to Morgan. Number 29. Christine Woods was cast as Officer Dawn Lerner. You may know her from her work in Hello Ladies and Flash Forward, or her guest spots in shows like Castle and House. Number 30. Dawn suffers from obsessive-compulsive disorder, which may explain why she runs such a tight ship at the hospital. Number 31. Tyler James Williams, who plays Noah, is probably best known for his leading role on Everybody Hates Chris, though he's also appeared in a hospital before on House, probably under different circumstances. Number 32. The original title of episode 5, Self-Help, was reportedly The Choice. It was seemingly changed before airing for unknown reasons. Number 33. More mysteries surrounding this episode. It was almost banned from airing. According to Michael Cudlitz, it was almost pulled, though he didn't specify why. There doesn't seem to be anything in the episode that's a far cry from Walking Dead's usual excessive blood and gore, but we're guessing it may have been cut. Number 34. Apparently producers like making Cudlitz get naked. He jokes that he has had more nude scenes than any of his peers, and how he was quickly given one on Walking Dead when so few others on the show have had one themselves. Norman hasn't been naked, he points out. I'm sure fans of Daryl wouldn't mind that though. Number 35. We know Eugene likes to watch, but apparently Rosita wants him to, and Tara. Christian Serratos wanted Alana Masterson and Josh McDermott on set for hers and Cudlitz's sex scene, but they were not allowed because it was a closed set. Number 36. Does Serratos look familiar? She played a reoccurring role throughout the Twilight films as Bella's human high school friend. Number 37. Williams nearly passed out shooting the bookcase scene. He was hyperventilating under the weight of it and stood up too quickly after he was released from beneath it. Who knew bookcases were such a threat in the zombie apocalypse? Number 38. Carol's and Daryl's entrance into Atlanta is identical to Rick's iconic entrance all the way back in season 1. Number 39. While the series has been relatively faithful to the comics, Beth's storyline was pretty much entirely created from scratch. Number 40. Every 7th episode so far has had the word dead in the title. Pretty much dead already, When the Dead Come Knocking, and Dead Weight. The 7th episode of this season, Crossed, was a combo breaker. Number 41. In Crossed, Tara references Band of Brothers, which Cudlitz had appeared in as Sergeant Denver Bull Randleman. Number 42. While filming at the napalmed Atlanta set piece, Reedus took a liking to a spine skull prop. He began to walk around set with it and even pose with it and Lincoln like a magazine cover. Number 43. The title of the mid-season finale, Coda, could mean the concluding passage of a piece of music. Since Beth is known as the musician of the show, it might have been alluding to her upcoming death. Number 44. Rick mirrors the line,
"Can't go back, Bob."
as spoken by Gareth earlier this season to a different Bob.
Can't go back, Bob.
Gimple says that this was done in an intentional way to cause Rick to reflect on his transformation. Number 45. Lincoln didn't understand why he would tell Bob to shut up after he already killed him, and wouldn't accept "because it's cool" as a good answer. So according to him, the shut up is actually directed at Gareth, as Rick has now realized the similarities between them. Number 46. In the mid-season finale, the scene where Rick runs down Bob in his car is a direct homage to the way Rick kills Martinez in the comics. Number 47. Beth's death was an extremely emotional moment on set. Lincoln had to turn away from the camera to conceal his tears, while Reedus cried for an hour beforehand so that he would look tearless by the time they shot the scene. Number 48. Ernest Dickerson directed Coda, meaning he oversaw the destruction of the Green Farm, the amputation of Herschel's leg, Herschel's decapitation, and now Beth's death. He must really hate the Green family. Watch out, Maggie. Number 49. There was some controversy following the original airing of the episode on the East Coast. The show's Facebook page immediately uploaded a poster of Daryl carrying Beth with the caption, "Rest in peace, Beth." The episode had not aired in many other places yet, and the backlash was so bad that a formal apology had to be issued by AMC. Number 50. Following that incident, many fans were unhappy with Beth's death in general, so they sent plastic spoons to showrunner Gimple in protest. The spoons allude to a collectible Washington, D.C. spoon found by Beth, which many fans took as a sign of a continued lifespan. Number 51. Perhaps more than any other season, this one radically shifts tone in the second half. According to Lincoln, the two halves of this season can be best encapsulated by two songs by fellow Brits, the Beatles, Helter Skelter and A Day in the Life. Number 52. Noah's home, Shire Wilt Estates, is a reference to Wiltshire Estates, a prominent location in the comics that briefly appeared unnamed in the show during season 2. Number 53. Coleman found out about Tyrese's death 3 episodes before it happened. Kinney says she learned about hers hours before the script came out. Number 54. Coleman and Kinney actually shared a death dinner, as their characters' deaths were so close that no one could bear to go through the whole thing twice. Number 55. Noah's house was built inside of a soundstage to hide all of the cameos in Tyrese's hallucinations. Fortunately, some were easy to arrange, like Kinney, who was still in the state. The only one that people may have caught onto was Morrissey's, as he was spotted at a coffee shop in Georgia, but Nicotero says that people seemed not to look too deeply into it. Number 56. The voice of the radio broadcaster is actually Lincoln, using his natural British accent. Number 57. Grimsdyke from the British horror film Tales of the Script makes a cameo in the forest. Number 58. In the 10th episode of the season, Rick finally says the famous title drop,
that we are the Walking Dead.
In the comics, he did that way back in issue 24 while they were still at the prison. Number 59. Kind of a disappointment then that this was the least viewed episode of the season with only 12 million viewers. How will everyone know that they are the Walking Dead? Number 60. The speech made Lincoln cry though. When he first read it, it reminded him of a moment in his own life in which he delivered a similar speech. Number 61. For the scene in which Daryl eats a worm, Reedus would have really ate it, but animal activists were on site to make sure he spit it back out. All life is sacred on the Walking Dead. Number 62. During the bridge scene, Reedus accidentally knocked off a walker's wig. To fix it in post-production, they had to digitally alter it to be the entire scalp. Number 63. More Reedus trivia. In the original script, before he starts to cry, Daryl was supposed to cut himself with a knife rather than burn himself with a cigarette. Reedus worried that if he used the knife, it may look like he is crying from physical pain rather than the emotional pain. He convinced them to change it to the burn. Number 64. For this episode, the special effects crew had prepared equipment to make artificial rain. However, just as they began shooting the scene, it began to actually rain. Probably the first time anyone ever wanted it to rain on their parade. Number 65. While shooting the scene at the barn door, Reedus actually sliced his arm open and began bleeding, and they caught it on camera. It wasn't used in the final cut of the episode though. Number 66. Aaron is played by Ross Marquand. Marquand is no stranger to the undead, having appeared in a short called The Deadening, and no stranger to AMC, having appeared in Mad Men. Number 67. Marquand had previously auditioned for Gareth, but the casting directors decided to hold off and cast him as Aaron instead, due to his improv and impression skills. Number 68. Aaron is the first gay male to appear on the show and the third gay character after Tara and Alicia. Number 69. The Distance, the 11th episode of the season, was originally speculated to be called The Sleeping Dens. This may have had some symbolism connected with the upcoming Wolves gang or with Rick's team being animals. Number 70. Eric Raleigh, Aaron's boyfriend, is played by Jordan Woods Robinson. He shares his last name with Raleigh Studios, the production company that houses The Walking Dead in Atlanta. Number 71. Abraham asks Glenn how he knows about the RV's extra battery, to which Glenn just smiles. For the record, he learned it from Dale back in the second season, who showed him on the Winnebago. Number 72. In the episode 12, titled Remember, Carl finds a comic book called Invincible. This is another comic by Kirkman. Number 73. Recognize Caitlin Nakin as Enid? That's because she appears in the infamous Too Many Cooks video. Number 74. How did Carl become the poker god of the apocalypse? Before the cameras were rolling, Josh McDermott showed Chandler Riggs and Tyler James Williams how to play. Riggs picked up on it quickly, then both went all in, and Riggs won. So in the show, Carl is seen dominating the game. Number 75. The Latin phrase on Rick's badge translates to "We will rise again," which is a phrase used by the governor in the season 3 episode Walk With Me. Number 76. Scott Ian of Anthrax cameos as a walker. He previously appeared in a webisode back in 2011, but came back for an appearance on the show and a guest spot on The Talking Dead. That's so metal. Number 77. Deanna Monroe and her husband Reg are actually gender swapped from their comic counterparts. There, she is Douglas Monroe, married to Regina. Number 78. Tova Feldsha plays Deanna Monroe. Some of her notable roles include Lady in the Water, Kissing Jessica Stein, and Law & Order. Walking Dead is new territory. Number 79. Deanna was a congresswoman of Ohio. Felcha cites Hillary Clinton, as well as other strong congresswomen, as her main influences in her depiction of the character. Number 80. Daryl's line, "You look ridiculous," was improvised by Reedus. Melissa McBride actually had a response, "Thank you," which was not included in the episode. Number 81. Move over, Michael Cudlitz. For his pre-shaved shower scene, Lincoln volunteered to actually be naked on set. Number 82. Bye Bye Beardy. Nicotero filmed Lincoln shaving off the beard and sent it to Lincoln's wife, who was never a fan of it, as proof that he had really done it. Number 83. Do you miss Rick's beard? Don't worry, Reedus now has it. He also kept Scott Wilson's ponytail. Don't ask us why. Number 84. Lincoln had been sporting Rick's beard for 4 years, so his 4-year-old son had never seen him cleanly shaven before. According to Lincoln, this led to some emotional video chats when he had to convince him that he was the same person. Number 85. Jesse is played by Alexander Breckenridge, who appeared on other hit TV shows like Family Guy, American Horror Story, and True Blood. Walking Dead pretty much has family, horror, and blood too. Number 86. In Forget, episode 13 of the season, Buttons the horse is attacked by walkers. One of them is actually the animal trainer. Number 87. The photos that Sasha uses for target practice are of crew members for the show. Watch out, guys! Number 88. Daryl's original line to Aaron after he puts down Buttons was written to be more comforting, like reassurance that he did the right thing. On the day, Reedus opted to change the line so that it was a more biting reflection of Daryl himself, instead pointing out that he shouldn't interfere with nature. Number 89. When Michonne hits Rick in the 14th episode of the season, Denai Guerrera accidentally hit Lincoln for real. When the cameras cut, she proceeded to dive down and cuddle him back to health. Number 90. The director of episode 15, Spend, is Jennifer Chambers Lynch. She's the daughter of Peggy Lynch and famous director David Lynch. Number 91. For Noah's death scene, a life-size mold of him was used. It was so eerily realistic looking that Williams advised his loved ones not to watch the scene. Number 92. Williams called Noah's death. According to him, as soon as Rick draped a blanket over him in them, he knew he was dead meat. He started spreading the rumor around set, and by the time his death was formally announced, no one was surprised. Number 93. Noah was always living on borrowed time. He was originally signed for just 3 episodes, meaning he would have died around Beth's death. However, they kept him just a little bit longer, just to hurt us a little bit more. Number 94. For his pole fighting scene in the opening of the season finale Conquer, Lenny James was taught by Stephen Ho, who was one of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Cowabunga! Number 95. The constant references to the wolves, as well as the appearance of the man in the red poncho who is killed by them, are allusions to the classic fairy tale Little Red Riding Hood. Number 96. A zombie kill sequence in this episode, shot for shot, mirrors a zombie kill from Dawn of the Dead. Number 97. The night of the finale shoot was a freezing 12 degrees outside, the coldest day in production history. It was so cold that vodka was mixed into the prop zombie blood to prevent it from freezing on set. The blood alcohol content of that must have been so illegal. Number 98. The line, "How many of you do I have to kill to save your lives?" was written by Gimple about 24 hours before it was supposed to be shot. Lincoln adores the line because of how coolly and accurately it reflects Rick's frustration at the people of Alexandria. Number 99. Martin Green was pregnant during production. Various visual techniques and a big gun were generally used to hide her baby bulge, but some shots, like the techno crane shot of her laying on the zombie pile, proved to be harder to manipulate. Number 100. The neighborhood used for Alexandria is Sonoya, right across the train tracks from the neighborhood used for Woodbury. In fact, people on the cast and crew would often go to Woodbury from Alexandria for coffee. Number 101. The fight between Rick and Pete mirrors the event from issue 75 of the graphic novel, which was called Too Far Gone. The show also had an episode with that name, only it was back in season 4, referencing the governor. Number 102. A great deal of secrecy has surrounded all of Lenny James' returns to the show. When he was brought in for Clear, he stayed at a private bed and breakfast away from everyone else. For his post-credit cameos this season, he was flown out for the day, shot all of his scenes, and then wasn't allowed to tell anyone. He says it made him feel like a secret agent. Number 103. Nicotero thinks that Conquer is the best episode in the series. Not only did he believe that everyone involved should get Emmy recognition, but his devotion to the episode was so great that he pushed for an hour hour-and-a-half runtime so we wouldn't have to cut out any content. Number 104. The last 5 episode titles of the season, remember, forget, spend, try, and conquer, are all verbs in the quote that Dale tells everyone in Season 1's Vatos. I give you a mausoleum of all hope and desire, which will fit your individual needs, no better than it did mine and my father before me. I give it to you not that you may remember time, but that you may forget it, for a moment now and then, and not spend all of your breath trying to conquer it. Number 105. According to Gimple, about 6 sets of twins had been used for Judith by the end of Season 5, as they all kept getting too big and need to be rotated. Number 106. This season, the award for most walker kills goes to Glenn, with a total of 70. Rick leads on the human count, though, with 10. Number 107. This season is currently boasting a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, even beating out Season 1 as the highest rated season so far. Thanks for watching Cinematica's 107 Facts You Should Know About The Walking Dead Season 5. Like what you just saw? Then be sure to subscribe to Cinematica so you don't miss out on any other videos we have coming out next.